Hey everybody, how's it going today? My name's Sam Crowley and I'm with Renovation Church. Today we're going to be working on a song called The Anthem by Todd Dulaney. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about what I'm going to be doing before we jump right into it. But basically the majority of this song it kind of falls into a groove where it just cycles between three different chords, three powerful chords. And the dynamics are supplied by the vocals and by the band just getting really big. It's a great congregational song. So as a guitar player, what you need to be thinking about is, how can I keep my part fresh? It's just three chords. If I just cycle between the same three chords over and over again, my part can become bland and I won't be adding to the dynamics of the song. So here's a couple of different ideas. It's a really common gospel progression or contemporary worship progression. Everyone uses it, pop, whatever. But it's basically 4, 6, 5. And I've got an E flat chord, a G minor chord, and an F chord. You are the risen King, oh God, seated in heaven. And he just cycles through over and over again, and then it goes through different parts, but the chords remain basically the same. So number one, find out some great chords that you can play. So don't just play a plain old E flat. Play a, listen, work around with the chord, and just take some of those tones to flesh out your chords a little bit more. So I'm going to play an E flat major 9. And instead of just a G minor or a G minor 7, both of which sound okay, I'm going to play a G minor 9. And then instead of just an F, I'm going to play like an F add 11. So I'm just kind of suspending up here. Okay. Cool. So you can do that. That's something that'll work through a lot of the song. But then, what do you do when the song really starts becoming more dynamic? One thing I really like to do is take the same chords, break them down into smaller pieces, and then just add some overdrive to it. So right there, I was thinking in pretty big chunks: 4 notes, and then a 5-note chord. So now let's think in little 3-note chunks. I've got my E flat, G minor 7. You can think of that as a B flat chord, okay? And then F. So these little pieces, you can think in those. Because when you overdrive a chord with like 4 or 5 notes, it's going to get kind of muddy. So you want to cut through a little bit more and maybe even change from lower down in your range to maybe higher up in your range. So basically, thinking in those little 3-note chunks, I've got an E flat chord up here, but I'm going to make it E again. I don't want to just go 1, 3, 5 for every single chord. Maybe I play an E flat 2. And you don't have to know the theory behind it. You can use your ear and start with the basic 1 through 5. Okay, E flat, B flat, F, and then just use your ear to kind of tweak those chords and make them a little nicer. And then you're gonna overdrive that to really build at the end of the song. So that's some more ideas of some things you can play. Find another way to play the same chords in a very different way, so that your part all of a sudden just comes out again. And last but not least, a little bit of lead work. I'm a more beginner intermediate lead player. I do more rhythm. And so as you seek to grow as a lead player, first and foremost, you need to identify 1 or 2 different scales, 2 or 3 different scales in a specific area that you can use and go and borrow notes from. So identify the scales first and play within those scales. That'll keep you from making mistakes. And then as you become more advanced, it's going to be all about blending different scales together and moving freely between all kinds of different scales all up and down the neck of the guitar. And that's where, when you see someone that's not locked into a little box, that's when you know that dude's pretty advanced. So I'm going to show you how to play within the box, or just give you a couple different ideas. So if you're in the key of B flat, start with your B flat major. Start with your B flat major scale, and then find another one, and maybe another. Okay, so I've got my B flat. Anything within that major scale is going to work great. Okay, you've got 7 different notes, and then the octaves, 8 different notes, and some of those are 2-octave scales. And you can just play around within those. Try not to play too many notes in the same sequence because it'll sound like, oh, he's playing a scale. And then, of course, you got your pentatonic scales. So for this song, I'll use this scale, and then, and then. So those 4 different pentatonic scales, okay? So identify bits and pieces, playing within those scales and going interchangeably between them. Identify some little licks within the scales that work really nice. So within that major scale, I like that first one. I like... It's just all within that major scale, and I'm emphasizing the... I'm emphasizing some of those notes. You can use a chord. You can emphasize a chord and kind of run across it to start a lead line. So that's all major scale work. But then I can throw in a very distinctly pentatonic lick. Into that major scale stuff. So that's just your pentatonic scale. And then do some major scale stuff. And in your mind, at least, know I'm going pentatonic, major, pentatonic, major. Go back and forth between them so that they sound a little more distinct. And that's all safe. It's all in one box. It's hard to make a mistake because you know exactly what you're doing. You're not jumping around too much. And then as you become more comfortable, that's encouraged because that's what's going to make your playing more distinct. A couple other little ideas I like. Again, that's in this pentatonic scale. And then throw in like one major note, but just going in a pattern. So I'm doing 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6, and so on and so forth. So that's a drill that you'll do. While you're practicing your scales, and that's how you can use a bit of the drill in a way that sounds good within a song, not just like a scale. And then, of course, find a couple notes you can bend, within a scale. So that's within this pentatonic scale. Up. And then find some big jumps that sound good. So those are some basic ideas. Vary your ranges. Play low, play high, intentionally, but know in your brain exactly where you are. And one last thing, listen to some vocal lines, listen to some of the vocal ad-libs. Todd Dulaney's great with this. He's got a lot of creative ad-libs. Listen to some of his vocal ad-libs and see if you can copy them on your guitar. It'll give you some ideas for what to play. But start with the major scale. You'll probably find the notes that he's using within the major scale, especially in a song like this. So hopefully I know this is a little long. It gives you a lot of different ideas to fill space, to be dynamic with your playing within the context of a band, even though it's just 3 chords over and over again. So hope this is helpful for you. Enjoy it.